Nerdrotic.com.
Greetings, you over 910,000 awakening wonders and the 40% who haven't subscribed yet. I know it's been a while, but we're going to talk about Doctor Who. At time of recording, it is the 60th anniversary of the greatest television show of all time. Shame it died in 2017. It's also been over a year since the last episode of the first female Doctor, played by Jodie Whittaker, who we will lovingly call Dr. Karen. Who could forget one of the worst television runs in history? After a promising start with some pretty impressive ratings, it all went downhill, including some of the worst ratings for the television show in its entire history, and some of the worst audience scores, including a brief moment at 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. But that's not all. It wasn't enough to replace the well-established male character that was the Doctor with the first female Doctor, played by Jodie Whittaker. They also had to completely alter the canon, with the horrific timeless children were 55 plus years of established television, and an established character was completely redone in a 5-minute voiceover when they replaced the first Doctor, played by William Hartnell, with a young diverse girl. William Hartnell was no longer the first Doctor, the Doctor was no longer from Gallifrey, and this show was dead, making Doctor Who the worst case of message-assisted Mary suicide in all of entertainment. Then, when all seemed lost, the impossible happened. After spending years saying he would never return to Doctor Who, Russell T Davies did just that. And not just that, he brought David Tennant and Catherine Tate with him for a set of 60th anniversary specials. The Whovians who remained rejoiced. Then later it was announced that the Doctor would once again be a man. Could it be that the BBC wanted to genuinely bring fans back to one of its biggest shows, prioritizing good stories over
the message? Short
answer,
no.
All it took to dash a lot of fans' hopes was the very first interview with the new 14th Doctor, Ncuti Gatwa.
He's a Time Lord. He's literally an alien. They are an alien. The Doctor is not from anywhere. It's like they don't fit in anywhere. And I think for marginalized people, they have been a real beacon of kind of feeling like seen in a way.
I have a bad feeling about this.
I feel like we've all got a lot bolder with the messages and the conversations that we're opening up.
Okay, fuckity bye.
Then the unthinkable happened. The worst nightmare for any science fiction fan, any fan of anything good, and any Whovian. Disney got involved with Doctor Who, not just to distribute it, to finance it. I wish I could say things got better, but they didn't, because the lead up to the 60th anniversary has been nothing short of abysmal, and I'm not even talking about Doomsday.
Hi, I'm Doom. I'm the universe's greatest assassin. If you see the Doctor, tell them I'm on my way.
What the f***?
I wish it ended there. Then we got our first look at the 14th Doctor and Davros in a cringe Children in Need special that I could have completely forgotten about, except Russell T Davies decided to make it even worse.
There's a problem with the Davros of old in that he's a wheelchair user who is evil. And I had problems with that, and a lot of us on the production team had the problems with that, of associating disability with evil. I say, this is how we see Davros now. This is what he looks like. This is 2023, and he looks like this now. And that we are absolutely standing by.
Yes, it's political correctness gone mad. And if you're just watching this video and don't know anything about Doctor Who, I don't know why, but thank you. Davros, the creator of the Daleks and one of the most iconic villains of Doctor Who, has now been fundamentally changed, and it would be equal to changing Darth Vader because you didn't want to offend anybody with prosthetic limbs. Despite all that, the first of 3 Doctor Who specials celebrating its 60th anniversary has arrived. The return of David Tennant, the return of Catherine Tate, the return of Russell T Davies. Was it a celebration of, let's just be real, a little over 5 decades of great entertainment, or just another modern franchise being sacrificed on the altar of agenda again? If you guessed the latter, then you'd be correct, because the now 3rd reboot of Doctor Who was murdered in its crib. If anyone at the BBC Bad Wolf, or Disney, including Russell T Davies, thinks this is going to bring back old fans, or even more important, bring in new ones, I would suggest you stop getting high on the supply of your own farts. But at least we know the answer to one question: why did Russell T Davies return in the first place? It's obvious. To use Doctor Who as a delivery mechanism for, you guessed it,
The message.
what makes this worse is it features David Tennant and Catherine Tate. It could have been a mediocre episode at best, but it couldn't get out of its own way. The Star Beast is based on a comic strip of the same name written by Pat Mills, John Wagner, and illustrated by Watchmen's Dave Gibbons. After the first female Doctor, played by Jodie Whittaker, regenerates into David Tennant's 14th Doctor, a new Doctor wearing an old face, he returns to Earth and immediately runs into his old companion Donna Noble and her husband Sean, along with their daughter Rose. Honestly, I feel a bit silly even breaking down the plot for you guys because it was so meaningless to this episode. Anyway, right around the same time, a spaceship crash lands while releasing an escape pod, and eventually Donna's daughter Rose comes across Beep the Meep. The Meep tells Donna's daughter that it's being hunted down by a warrior race for its fur. To save your valuable time and my dwindling sanity, we're going to get through the rest of the plot quickly. It turns out that Beep the Meep is the bad guy, and the Roth warrior race who is in pursuit of the Meep are the good guys. The cute and cuddly Meep used to be just that until their son turned into a psychedelic son, mutating the Meep into cruel conquerors, which I believe is somewhat accurate to a comic strip that I've read almost 2.5 decades ago. And now it's up to the 14th Doctor, Donna, her family, and a unit scientist in a wheelchair to stop the Meep from taking off in its spaceship and destroying 5 square miles of London before completing the trans allegory. As far as the characters go, David Tennant is good as the Doctor, as he usually is, but I have to agree with my good friend Bowles Trek, it feels a bit like an aging rock star going out on a reunion tour. Still, he's good, and so is Catherine Tate as Donna Noble, as well as Sean, her husband, and her mom Sylvia. Unfortunately, it's all wasted on this propaganda. We're also introduced to 2 new characters, including Shirley Ann Bingham, a unit science advisor who's in a wheelchair that can fire knockout darts and missiles. Unfortunately, I think Unit's going through some budget cuts because they have access to alien technology, but they can't provide her with an exoskeleton, a hovering wheelchair, or even a motorized wheelchair. This brings us to Donna's daughter, Rose, played by Yasmin Finney, a 20-year-old actor playing a 15-year-old child. The centerpiece of the 60th anniversary special of Doctor Who and The Message. Not for Yasmin's acting ability, because that really doesn't exist. It's for the actor's existence. Don't believe me? We'll let the episode speak for itself. We're told time and time again that Rose is beautiful.
The most beautiful daughter in the world.
You look absolutely gorgeous. When I say she looks gorgeous, is that right?
Does she look gorgeous? Yes. Well, stop worrying. And then she grows up into this extraordinary, beautiful thing, and you think, where the hell did she come from? How lucky am I?
She's brilliant. She's got this beautiful daughter. She's happy.
Okay, I get it.
I got a question for Doctor Who fans out there. Do you fire up your anniversary special expecting something retrospective, maybe something a little new, maybe something fun, or do you want to see the Doctor corrected after a misuse of pronouns?
Don't you dare.
Meep.
Yes, the Meep. I promise I can help him get home and then you'll never see me again.
You're assuming he as a pronoun.
True. Yes, sorry. Good point. Are you he or she or they?
My chosen pronoun is the definite article. I am always the me.
So now, trigger warning for potentially contentious conversation, if you don't mind me leading myself into this, which is that of dead naming. Rose at one point is dead named in the street by some kids calling her by her dead name.
Looking good, Jason. Give us a kiss, Jay boy.
Oh, get them.
I personally think we should stare into difficult stuff like this. So what do you think?
I feel that it is important to show the lived reality of trans people. To my mind, as a trans person and as a writer, there is no point in trying to sugar the pill. Trans people face transphobia. And it happens.
I'm bored.
But Russell T Davies and company really bring it home with their outright worship of agenda by committing one of the worst crimes against imagination. You could put it right up there with Ridley Scott screwing up Alien by going back and undoing one of the greatest stories in modern Who that Russell T Davies wrote, The Dr. Donna. I'll try to keep this brief because the only thing that equals the amount of agenda that's in this episode is the amount of exposition. Long story short, Donna took the power of the Time Lords into her mind and saved the universe, but at a terrible cost. It was killing her, so the Doctor had to make her forget all of her experiences with the Doctor. If she remembers the Doctor, she will die. It was a brilliant, beautiful, and bittersweet story. Donna got her happy ending, but she could never see the Doctor again.
And that's the tragedy of Donna, is that she will never know. She will never know. And this, it's so sad that she will probably just not reach any potential because she doesn't know she's got any. But hopefully she'll be happy.
It's desperately, bitterly sad that Donna will never remember any of the extraordinary things that she's experienced. It's desperately sad for the Doctor as well. Donna, I was just going.
Yeah, see ya.
And he has to sacrifice that relationship for the greater good.
And Russell T Davies completely undid his own work, not to tell a good story, but to send a message. And it turns out it was more than just remembering the Doctor. Apparently Donna's the Winter Soldier now, and her memory can be unlocked with a code. Through a series of contrived events, Donna is needed to keep the Meep ship from taking off and destroying 5 square miles of London. She does this and then dies. And immediately wakes up again because they undid one of the greatest stories in Doctor Who for a transmission allegory. Turns out when Donna had a child, she passed down her Meta-Crisis Time Lord energy to her daughter, making it the most powerful Time Lord of all. A Translord.
Binary. Non-binary.
We're binary.
She's not, because the Doctor's male and female.
And neither. And more.
And if that wasn't enough, they brought David Tennant back to his 60th anniversary special, which really didn't celebrate the show at all, to dress him down.
We know everything. Thanks.
And you know nothing. It's a shame you're not a woman anymore. Because she'd have understood.
We've got all that power, but there is a way to get rid of it. Something a male-presenting Time Lord will never understand.
Shut up. Just shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut it up.
And just like that, your one opportunity to bring back some old fans and possibly bring in some new ones is gone like a fart in the wind. All I can say is this show. Coming off reviewing the Marvels, I didn't think anything could get any worse, especially this, and I'm a sweet summer child because boy was I wrong. While the Marvels was just a shitty movie, the Doctor Who 60th anniversary used nostalgia bait to beat you over the head over and over again with propaganda. Don't believe me? Well, over the next week, the usual suspects in the Access media will be running with a lot of articles like this. Doctor Who's first 60th anniversary special is the Turf's Worth Nightmare. If you had removed all the agenda from this 60th anniversary special, it still would have only been a mediocre episode for a middle of a season. But ultimately, the failure of this show lays at the very large feet of our new Rose.
I want to go home. The Meep is all alone.
Yeah, I know that feeling. Sometimes I think I'm from a different planet.
She can't act. She's terrible. I don't know how to tell her.
A character like Captain Jack Harkness worked for the same reasons the new Rose didn't. One character was much more than his sexuality, and the other one wasn't more than its identity. I really didn't think the special would be that bad, but once I heard that the showrunner Russell T Davies wanted to avoid associating disability with evil and change Davros completely, I guess I should have known. On that note, hashtag I sit with Davros. At this point, we shouldn't be surprised, but it doesn't make it any less disappointing. First there was Disney Star Wars, then Disney Marvel, now there's Disney Doctor Who. Ugh. I think what sums up the first episode of the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who is the last 2 paragraphs of a review from the BBC. If you've been indifferent to Who, this won't be the episode to convert you. And if you're altogether new to the show, you'll probably wonder what all the fuss is about. And although the show has always been progressive, look at the number of stories over the decades about, for example, threats to the environment. This special is preachy, and by the end, little more than a delivery system for the message. If you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like what you heard, I thank you for listening this long. I will see you in the next video.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.